Good morning, students. So, in the previous class, we have studied about the resources, the definition of resource, and the classification of resource. And we have also studied different bases on which the resources are classified. So, students, in this class, we will study one base on which the resources are classified, that is on the basis of status of development. So, students, on the basis of status of development, we will start with this topic, and on this basis the resources are classified into 4 types. So let us discuss these types one by one. First one of them is potential resources. Now, what are potential resources? Which have the potential, the resources which are found in a region but have not been utilized till yet, they are called potential resources. They have the potential, they can be used in the future, but they are not being used in present. For example, Western Ghat of the Indian subcontinent, Western Ghat of India, particularly Rajasthan and Gujarat, have potential to develop wind and solar energy. These two states have enormous potential to develop wind energy because they are situated near the sea, and also solar energy, but they have not been utilized. So this is the potential which will be used in future. Now let us move to the next. First one was potential resource. Potential resources. Now the next is developed resources. So what are developed resources? The name tells us that these resources are developed. Means what? They are surveyed. And their quality and quantity have been determined for utilization. It means these resources have been surveyed and their quality and quantity have been determined for future use. So students, now let us move to the next type of resource, which is stock. Stock means these resources have the potential to satisfy human needs. These resources have the potential to satisfy human needs, but we do not have appropriate technology. We do not have appropriate technical know-how how to use them. For example, water, you know very well, in science you would have studied that water consists of two molecules, two elements, one is hydrogen and the other is oxygen. So this hydrogen has the potential to be used as fuel, to be used as energy, but we do not have the appropriate technology to use this hydrogen which is present in water molecules. So that is, this hydrogen is a stock for us. I hope that in future maybe someone can develop the technology which technology can use this hydrogen which is present in water as a fuel, as a source of energy. Now let us move to the next, reserves. So reserves, what are reserves? Reserves are subset of the stock. They are subset of the stock. We have technical know-how how to use the reserves, but their use has not been started. They can be used for future generations. For example, river water. River water can be used for generating hydroelectricity. We are using this technology. We have the technical know-how how to produce electricity with the help of river water, but this is not used vastly in our country. So we can use this technology, we can use this river water to generate electricity, hydroelectricity in future generation. That's why they are known as reserves. Now let us move to the next topic. So students, the next topic is development of resources. As we know, resources are very important for us. They are vital for our survival. They also maintain the quality of our life. But it was believed that they are free gifts of nature. It was believed that they are free gifts of nature for us, and as a result, human beings have used them indiscriminately, and this led to problems. I am telling you what problems are created by the indiscriminate use of human beings, resources by human beings. So the first problem is depletion of resources. Depletion of resources. So depletion of resources means what? The resources are being depleted. The resources are being overused. They are being exploited by human beings just to satisfy their greed. So one problem is given here. The next problem is accumulation of resources. Accumulation of resources in a few hands. Means what? The resources have been accumulated in few hands, dividing the society into two halves, into two parts. One part is the rich and the other part is the poor. So this problem is created by the indiscriminate use of resources by human beings. Now, the third problem is this led to indiscriminate use of resources led to indiscriminate use of resources has led to global ecological crisis. So this is the third problem created by the indiscriminate use of resources by human beings. Indiscriminate use of resources has led to global ecological crises like global warming, ozone layer depletion, environmental pollution, and land degradation. So these all problems have been created by human beings by using the resources indiscriminately. So now let us move to the next topic. Students, an equitable distribution of resources has become essential for a sustained quality life and global peace. If this trend of resource depletion by a few individuals and countries continues, then our globe will be in danger. Students, there is a controversy also that there is a report that the developed nations, the developed countries are using more than 50% of the world's resources, and they are saying us, they are giving pressure on underdeveloped countries and developing countries not to use more and more resources. While if you see that in those countries they have already built roads, railways, buildings, and whatever they need, they have already built all those things. So logically they need less resource, while in underdeveloped nations and developing nations we need more resources because we have to build more roads, more railways, more bridges, more houses, schools, hospitals. So we need more and more resources. But developed nations are giving pressure on us that we should not use more resources. Now students, therefore resource planning is now very essential. Sustainable development. Sustainable development means development should take place without damaging the environment, and the development in the future, in the present, should not compromise with the future generation, with the needs of the future generation. So this is the definition of sustainable development, that we should develop without damaging the environment, without damaging the environment. So this is the one point, the first point is sustainable development. And the second point is the development in present should not compromise with the needs of future generations. So we should understand this, that our population is increasing, and when the population increases, we need more houses to live in, we need more schools to educate our children, we need more hospitals to make our population healthier. Like this, we need more modes of transportation, more roads, more railways, more bridges. But it doesn't mean that we should damage the environment to fulfill all these needs. So we should develop. This is the need of the time, because the population is increasing. We should develop, but without damaging the environment. Now the next point is the development in the present should not compromise with the needs of the future generations. For example, we need to develop, we need to use our resources. For example, we need to use our forests to build furnitures. We need to use our iron ore to build bridges. But it doesn't mean that we should use all of them and we should exhaust the resources. Then the future generation will not get those resources. So there will be a problem for the future generation if we use the resources indiscriminately and indiscriminately. So students, we have to keep this in mind, that we need to develop, we need to use the resources, but without damaging the environment and without compromising with the needs of the future generation. Now students, in 1992, the Earth Summit, the first Earth Summit took place in 1992 in Rio de Janeiro, which is in Brazil. In June 1992, more than 100 heads of states met in Rio de Janeiro in Brazil for the first International Earth Summit. The topic on which they discussed was environmental protection and socio-economic development at the global level. It means they discussed how to protect the environment at the global level and also how to develop socially and economically at the global level. The assembled leaders signed the Declaration on Global Climatic Change and Biological Diversity. They signed that the climate is changing nowadays, and what we should do, what the earth should do, what the globe should do, it means what the whole world should do to decrease the global climatic change? Means global, we see that the temperature of the earth is increasing. So how to decrease that? How to decrease the temperature of the earth? How to stop global warming? So they discussed on that, they signed on that declaration that we should work on this topic, we should work for global climatic change. And the other topic was biological diversity. So we see that many species of plants and many species of animals are endangered, and many of them are now extinct. So they signed on the declaration to protect biological diversity, because they are the whole species are very important for human beings, for the survival of the human beings. They endorsed the global forest principles and adopted Agenda 21 for achieving sustainable development. So, global forest principles was endorsed by them. It means how to protect the forest, how to increase the area under forest at the global level, and they also adopted Agenda 21 for sustainable development. Students, what is Agenda 21? It is the declaration signed by world leaders in 1992 at the United Nations Conference on Environment and Development. It means UNCED, United Nations Conference on Environment and Development, which took place at Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. It aims at achieving global sustainable development. The aim of this Agenda 21 was to achieve global sustainable development. It is an agenda to combat environmental damage. In this agenda, environmental damage is to be controlled by the globe, means by all the countries. It is an agenda to combat poverty at the global level and disease, to combat disease through global cooperation on common interests, mutual needs and shared responsibilities. It means all the countries should take their responsibilities, and in their interests, in their mutual needs, they should work on Agenda 21. It means they should work on to combat environmental pollution, environmental damage, to combat poverty and to combat diseases at the global level. Now, one major objective of Agenda 21 is that every local government should draw its own Agenda 21. It means every country should make their own Agenda 21, how to combat with the environmental damage, how to combat with the poverty in the country, and how to combat the disease